Sun enters the sign of Gemini on June 15, 2026, and will remain there until July 16, 2026. This is a month-long transit that carries significant energy around communication, career, information, and mental activity. It is essential to note that these interpretations are based on sidereal or Vedic astrology, which accounts for the approximately 24-degree difference with the tropical zodiac. Gemini is a sign ruled by Mercury, and Mercury represents everything related to thinking, speaking, writing, business, travel, and the exchange of ideas. When the Sun enters this sign, it brings its natural qualities of authority, focus, confidence, and energy into the domain of communication and intellect. For the next 1 month, these themes will dominate the environment around us in a very practical and observable way. Gemini is an air sign, which means it is fast-moving, mentally active, and driven by curiosity and information. The Sun is not in its strongest placement here because Gemini is neither the own sign nor the exalted sign of the Sunday. It is not a weak placement either. The Sun functions as a steady and purposeful force in Gemini, directing its natural authority and confidence through communication, networking, and career-related activities. People across all walks of life may find themselves more focused on expressing their thoughts, working on business matters, making important calls and decisions, and engaging with their immediate social and professional environment during this period. One of the most important combinations happening during this transit is the formation of Sun-Mercury conjunction. Mercury is the lord of Gemini, and it will retrograde back into Gemini around July 7th, where it will join the Sun in the same sign. When Mercury joins the Sun in Gemini, the sign that Mercury itself rules, this creates a strong intellectual and communicative energy. The combination enhances mental sharpness, the ability to process and share information quickly, and the capacity to present ideas with clarity and confidence. This particular combination in Mercury-ruled Gemini is especially potent for people involved in careers related to writing, media, teaching, counseling, sales, marketing, and business development. There is a very important factor to keep in mind during this transit, and that is Mercury turning retrograde on June 29th. From June 29th onwards, Mercury will begin its retrograde motion, moving back from Cancer into Gemini. During this retrograde phase, miscommunications, delays in plans, technical issues, and the need to revisit decisions may become more common. This is not a time to make impulsive decisions in business or to finalize major contracts without thorough review. It is a period that asks for patience, rechecking, and careful thinking before acting. Any major communication or agreement made during this retrograde window should be double-checked for errors and assumptions. Adding another layer to this picture is the position of Jupiter in Cancer during this transit. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, which means it is at its most powerful position. Mercury, before going retrograde, will be placed in Cancer alongside an exalted Jupiter. This brings a broader sense of wisdom, guidance, and positive energy into the overall Mercury-led activities. It can support growth in education, financial decisions, and career matters that involve knowledge and communication. Jupiter's exaltation in Cancer is genuinely helpful, and it acts as a stabilizing and expanding force even as Mercury goes retrograde. Venus will also be in Cancer for a portion of this period before it moves into Leo on July 4th. After Venus enters Leo, it will join Ketu in that Sun-ruled sign, which adds a somewhat spiritually detached quality to matters related to relationships and finances. Rahu in Aquarius is aspecting Gemini throughout this transit, which adds a sense of ambition, restlessness, and a desire for achievement and recognition. Rahu's influence on Gemini can amplify the craving for information and success, but it can also create scattered thinking and an obsession with results without proper planning. Overall, the Sun transit in Gemini for 2026 is a period of mental activity, professional communication, and focused ambition. The highlights of this transit are the intellectual strength of Sun-Mercury conjunction, the need for caution during Mercury retrograde, and the supportive presence of exalted Jupiter in the background. Wherever the Sun goes in transit for 1 month, our soul and our focus go into things related to that house. A person will feel gravitated, motivated, or even forced to take up things related to the house where the Sun is moving. Likewise, if the Sun is transiting over any significant natal planets in your chart, especially your Moon, Mars, or Jupiter, those themes will activate prominently in your life. It's essential to look at dignity of planets to derive precise outcomes. To accurately assess the impact of these transits, it is crucial to consider your ascendant and moon signs. The ascendant sign offers insights into the timing of life events, while the moon sign reveals how you will emotionally respond to these changes. Take into account the position of your current Mahadasha Lord in your birth chart, as it can shed light on how these transits will influence the recurring themes of your current dasha period. This transit may manifest differently for each individual, and how they navigate this transit will depend on their personal charts. A more precise understanding of the impact of this transit can be gained by examining the Sun's Ashtaka score in Gemini. Keep in mind that the effects of this transit are contingent on Sun's interaction with the planets in individual birth charts. It's also worth noting that individuals currently experiencing the influence of Sun dasha periods may feel the effects of this transit more intensely. To understand how this transit may affect you based on your zodiac sign and the houses it transits, let's delve into those specifics. For Aries, the Sun transits your third house from June 15th to July 16th, 2026. The third house governs communication, courage, siblings, short-distance travel, writing, social media, marketing, business ideas, and your ability to assert yourself in your immediate environment. This is one of the most active and energizing houses when the Sun moves through it, and for Aries, this transit brings a full month of heightened focus on everything related to expressing yourself and connecting with the world around you through your words and actions. The most immediate thing you will feel during this period is a noticeable boost in how confident you are when you communicate. Whether you are speaking in a professional meeting, writing a proposal, sending important messages, recording content, or presenting an idea to a group, you will find that you express yourself with more clarity, boldness, and authority than you normally do. The Sun illuminates whatever house it transits, and in the third house, it turns up the volume on your voice, your writing, and your willingness to act on your ideas. For Aries people, courage already comes naturally as a personality trait, but during this transit, that courage extends specifically into communication and outreach. Professionally, this is one of the most productive windows of the year for you. People who work in sales, marketing, writing, content creation, journalism, social media, teaching, training, or any field where sharing information or persuading others is central to their work will see a genuine surge in output and effectiveness. If you have been waiting for the right moment to launch a project, pitch a new idea to your company, start a channel, or promote your services more actively, this transit gives you both the motivation and the external visibility to make it count. The third house Sun essentially puts your communication abilities on display for others to see, and that visibility can directly translate into career progress. The Sun also rules your fifth house. The fifth house represents education, children, creativity, and intelligence. So the Sun is carrying that fifth house energy with it as it moves through your third house. In practical terms, this means many of your communications and bold actions during this period will be connected to educational goals, creative projects, or matters involving children. If you are a student, your academic engagement and motivation increase substantially. If you have children, important conversations around their education, progress, or future may become a focus. For creatively inclined Aries people, this is an excellent time to develop and share original work. Your relationship with siblings and close cousins is another theme of this transit. The Sun in the third house brings siblings into an active and sometimes intense spotlight. You may find yourself in important discussions, collaborative efforts, or shared decisions with a brother, sister, or close relative during this period. Be mindful that the Sun does bring its ego energy wherever it goes, and in the third house, it can make you want to be the one directing conversations and making calls in family-related discussions. This assertiveness is a strength in professional settings but may need to be softened when communicating with people who are close to you personally. Short travel is very likely during this month. Third house transits of the Sun tend to create movement and activity in your immediate world. You may take one or more short trips for work meetings, training programs, business visits, or personal reasons. Getting out and moving around during this transit actually helps you process information and make decisions faster. The energy of the third house with the Sun in it is restless in a productive way, and channeling it into action and movement will serve you well. Health-wise, this transit does not create major concerns for Aries, but the Sun in the third house does activate the arms, shoulders, and upper chest area of the body. If there is any physical discomfort or tension in these areas, this is a good period to address it. Maintaining your physical stamina through regular movement will also help you sustain the high communication and activity demands this transit places on you. From June 29th, Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, goes retrograde. Mercury then moves back from Cancer into Gemini, and by July 7th, it conjoins the Sun in Gemini. This creates a combination of intelligence and communication energy landing directly in your third house. The positive side of this is a sharper and more focused mind in communication-related matters. Old contacts may reach out. Conversations that had stalled may restart. Ideas that were shelved may get a second look and find new life. The retrograde element means you should be careful with written communications, contracts, and documents during this phase. Do not rush to send something important without reviewing it carefully. Miscommunication is a genuine risk between June 29th and July 16th, so give yourself extra time to review proposals, messages, and any creative or business-related work before it goes out. Rahu is currently transiting Aquarius, which is your 11th house. From there, it casts its aspect on Gemini, your third house. Rahu adds ambition, amplification, and an obsessive drive toward growth in whatever area it touches. When it aspects your third house along with the transiting Sun, it creates a very strong desire to expand your reach through communication, to grow a larger audience, and to connect with people across different industries and geographies. Social media presence, digital outreach, and networking with people from unconventional or diverse backgrounds all become real and active possibilities. Some of you may receive an opportunity during this transit that comes through an unexpected message, a phone call, or an online connection. Rahu rewards boldness in communication, so do not hold back your ideas out of hesitation. Overall, this is a highly energetic and productive Sun transit for Aries. Put your best communication forward. Take initiative in professional conversations and creative projects. Keep your ego in check when dealing with siblings or close family. Use the retrograde phase to review and refine your work rather than rushing it out. And take advantage of the Rahu-amplified desire to reach a bigger audience. The effort you invest in communication and outreach during this transit directly feeds into your career growth and personal confidence over the months ahead. For Taurus, the Sun transits your second house from June 15th to July 16th, 2026. The second house is the house of family, accumulated wealth, speech, savings, values, food, and your sense of personal security. It also governs your immediate family unit and the financial foundation you have built over time. When the Sun enters this house, it shines a direct and authoritative light on these areas of life, making wealth, family, and the way you communicate your values the primary focus of your attention for this 1-month period. The most obvious and consistent effect of the Sun in your second house is a heightened awareness of your financial situation. You will find yourself thinking more seriously about your income, your expenses, and whether your current earning capacity is keeping up with your lifestyle and your family's needs. The Sun here functions like a self-initiated financial review. You will be more motivated to track your money, to pursue income opportunities more assertively, and to have important conversations around financial planning. If you have been thinking about asking for a salary increase, negotiating a better deal with a client, or finding ways to improve your income, this is the time to take that step with confidence. The Sun in the second house has a very direct effect on speech and how you come across when you talk. During this transit, your communication style becomes noticeably more authoritative and direct. People will sense conviction in the way you speak. In professional settings, this is an excellent quality. When you are presenting, negotiating, or pitching, that firmness in your voice makes people take you seriously. In personal settings, particularly within the home and family, this same quality can sometimes create friction. The Sun in the second house can make a person naturally want to be the authority figure in family conversations, and if that is perceived as domineering rather than caring, some tension can arise. Being aware of how your words land on those closest to you will help you navigate this. The Sun also rules your fourth house through Leo. The fourth house represents home, mother, property, vehicles, and emotional security. When the Sun carries this fourth house energy into your second house, it creates a tight connection between your financial focus and your home life. You may be thinking seriously about property, whether buying, selling, renting, or investing in real estate. Home-related expenses may also come up prominently during this period. Your relationship with your mother and the general well-being of your family become subjects that are emotionally and financially tied together. Decisions around the home front are likely to move forward during this transit. Family dynamics generally become more active and sometimes more charged during a second house Sun transit. There may be important family discussions around shared finances, property ownership, or inheritance. If there are outstanding financial matters within the family that have been avoided or postponed, the Sun here has a way of making them surface and demand resolution. Take these conversations seriously and approach them with clarity rather than avoidance. Wealth and savings deserve your practical attention during this month. Set a concrete financial goal for this transit period. Whether it is increasing your savings by a specific amount, clearing a small debt, or reviewing your investment portfolio, this is a productive time to take concrete financial steps. The Sun here is not only illuminating where your money stands but also motivating you to improve that position. Health-wise, the second house governs the face, throat, teeth, and eyes. If you have been ignoring any concern related to these areas, this transit tends to bring your attention toward them. It is a good idea to schedule a dental checkup, an eye examination, or to address any voice or throat-related concern that has been lingering. Second house also governs your eating habits, so paying attention to diet and food quality during this period is genuinely beneficial. From June 29th, Mercury goes retrograde, and by July 7th, it conjoins the Sun in Gemini, your second house. Mercury rules your second and fifth houses for Taurus. So Mercury retrograde joining the Sun in your second house is a direct signal to revisit financial decisions and any agreements connected to money or family assets. If you signed a financial commitment recently, read the terms carefully once more. If you made an investment decision somewhat hastily, now is the time to review and, if necessary, adjust your position. Be cautious about entering into new financial commitments during the retrograde phase, particularly between June 29th and July 16th. Any documents related to money, property, or family financial matters should be handled with extra diligence and without rushing. Rahu is currently in Aquarius, which is your 10th house. From the 10th house, Rahu's aspect reaches your second house where the Sun is transiting. Rahu in the 10th house is already creating a strong and ambitious drive around your career reputation and public image. When it aspects your second house, it connects those career ambitions to your financial goals. You may encounter a work opportunity during this transit that promises significant financial rewards. This opportunity might come through an unexpected channel, from an unconventional source, or involve a project that is somewhat outside your usual professional domain. Rahu's energy here pushes you to think ambitiously about your income potential and to be bold in professional negotiations. Do not undersell your value. Overall, this Sun transit is a clear call to take your financial and family responsibilities seriously and to act on them with confidence. Look at your financial situation clearly and address what needs attention. Communicate boldly in professional settings but with care and warmth in personal ones. Treat the Mercury retrograde phase as an essential review period for financial and family-related decisions. The Sun in your second house is giving you both the awareness and the authority to improve your financial and domestic foundation. Use this month to build on what you have worked hard to earn. For Gemini, this is a particularly personal and significant transit because the Sun is moving through your own sign in your first house from June 15th to July 16th. 2026. The first house is the house of self, personality, physical body, identity, and the overall direction of your life. When the Sun, the planet of soul, authority, and vitality, enters your own sign and house, it puts you at the center of attention in the most direct and personal way possible. The most noticeable effect you will feel during this transit is an increase in personal confidence and clarity about who you are and where you are going. The Sun in the first house tends to energize everything it touches, and in your case, it is energizing your personality, your sense of self-worth, and your willingness to put yourself forward in the world. You will feel more driven, more focused, and more willing to take decisive action on things that have been sitting on the sidelines. If you have been hesitating about a career step, a personal decision, or a project you want to pursue, this transit provides the internal push to move forward. Since Gemini is naturally a sign connected to communication, intelligence, analytical thinking, and the exchange of ideas, the Sun in your first house amplifies all of these qualities in your personality. You become more expressive, sharper in your reasoning, and more eager to engage with the world through conversation, writing, and the creative exchange of information. People around you will notice a more vibrant, energetic, and intellectually alive version of you during this period. Whether in professional settings or social environments, you make an impression through the way you process information and articulate your thoughts. The Sun also rules your third house through Leo. The third house governs communication, courage, siblings, short-distance travel, and hands-on skills. So when the Sun is in your first house, it is carrying the energy of your communication and courage house with it. What this means practically is that the confidence boost you experience during this transit is very specifically rooted in your communication abilities and your willingness to be bold and take initiative. The more you express yourself, share your ideas, and take courageous steps, the more the first house sun energy works in your favor. For Gemini people who are job seekers, this is one of the better periods of the year to go through interviews and present yourself to potential employers. The sun in the first house gives you a natural authority and presence that makes excellent impressions in professional settings. For those who are already employed, this is a productive time to raise your hand for projects, speak up in important meetings, and make your capabilities visible to the right people. Business owners and entrepreneurs will find it easier to attract clients and establish authority in their field during this transit. From a health standpoint, the first house governs your physical body and overall vitality. The sun in the first house does boost your energy levels and general drive, but it also increases your awareness of any physical area that needs attention. During the summer heat of this transit period, be mindful of staying well hydrated and not overworking yourself. The sun's heat combined with its first house placement can make you susceptible to heat-related fatigue if you push through it without adequate rest and hydration. Paying attention to your physical condition this month rather than operating on pure momentum will serve you better in the long run. Your personal presence and magnetism in social settings are heightened during this transit. If there are important social or professional events to attend, networking opportunities, or situations where being seen and heard matters, this is the month to show up fully and make the most of your visibility. The sun in the first house makes others naturally gravitate toward you and pay attention to what you have to say. From June 29th, Mercury, which is your first house lord and the ruler of Gemini itself, goes retrograde. By July 7th, it returns to Gemini and joins the sun in your first house. This is a very personal and significant event for Gemini people. Your own chart ruler is meeting the sun directly in your sign. The positive outcome of this Sun-Mercury conjunction in the first house is a sharpening of your intelligence and an intensification of your sense of personal direction. You may revisit an important personal goal during this phase and find a clearer and more motivated path toward it than you had before. The retrograde quality also means there can be moments of second-guessing yourself, overanalyzing decisions, or getting caught in mental loops. Some of you may need to go back and clarify a communication or correct a misunderstanding with someone during this period. Treat these situations as practical corrections rather than setbacks. Rahu is currently in Aquarius, which is your 9th house. From there, it casts its aspect on your first house where the sun is transiting. The 9th house governs philosophy, higher knowledge, foreign connections, and expansion of perspective. Rahu there is pushing you toward bigger ideas and wider horizons. When this Rahu energy aspects your first house with the sun placed there, it makes your personality appear more dynamic, forward-thinking, and magnetically interesting to people around you. Some Gemini people may receive opportunities during this transit connected to foreign collaboration, online platforms, higher education, or unconventional projects that stretch their usual scope of activity. These opportunities may come through an unexpected connection or a referral from someone you had not previously considered a key contact. Overall, this transit is one of the more personally empowering ones you will experience this year. The sun in your own sign puts you in a strong position to take initiative, to be seen, and to make meaningful progress in both your career and personal life. Show up confidently, put your ideas forward, and use the second half of this transit, particularly the retrograde phase, to reflect and refine rather than push recklessly. This is your moment of elevated visibility. Make it count. For Cancer, the sun transits your 12th house from June 15th to July 16th, 2026. The 12th house is one of the most inward-looking and spiritually significant houses in Vedic astrology. It governs expenses and losses, foreign lands and travel abroad, spiritual retreats and meditation, hospitals and places of isolation, behind-the-scenes activity, sleep quality, and matters that are hidden from public view. When the sun, a planet of external energy and visible authority, enters this house, it creates a period where your inner world becomes louder and more demanding of your attention than the outer world. The sun in the 12th house does not bring a period of outward enthusiasm or social dynamism. Instead, it brings a pull toward quiet, reflection, and solitude. You will notice during this transit that you feel less motivated to be in large social or professional gatherings and more drawn to working privately, thinking deeply, or spending time alone or in peaceful settings. This is not a sign of anything going wrong. It is simply the energy of the 12th house, which is by nature introspective and restorative. If you have been running at full capacity for months without adequate rest, this transit can be a valuable natural pause to slow down and reconnect with yourself. One of the most tangible practical effects of this transit is that expenses are likely to increase. The 12th house governs financial outflows, and the sun here tends to activate expenditure. These expenses may come through household purchases, travel costs, medical bills, donations, or simply the routine demands of daily life becoming more expensive during this period. Being mindful of your spending, particularly avoiding impulsive purchases, and keeping a close eye on your financial outflows will prevent this from creating unnecessary stress. The sun also rules your second house through Leo. The second house governs wealth, family, speech, and savings. When the sun carries this second house energy into the 12th house, it can mean that your financial resources are flowing outward more than usual during this period, potentially connected to family needs or home-related matters. There may also be some family-related communication or financial discussion that creates mild stress. If there is a sensitive money-related conversation that needs to happen within the family, this transit is likely to bring it to the surface. Handle it with calm practicality rather than avoidance. For Cancer people who have connections to foreign lands, whether through work, education, relationships, or immigration processes, this transit can bring relevant developments. The 12th house governs foreign places and connections, and the sun here activates this domain. You may receive important correspondence connected to a visa application, an overseas work opportunity, communication with someone living abroad, or a travel plan involving another country. If any of these processes are already in motion, pay close attention during this period because the sun here can both accelerate and create some complications depending on your overall chart situation. Rest and health deserve serious attention during this transit. The 12th house governs sleep and bodily recovery, and the sun moving through it can disrupt sleep patterns or simply make you feel more drained than usual if you are not prioritizing restoration. Avoid pushing through exhaustion during this period. Your body needs more recovery time than usual. If there is a health concern you have been postponing, address it proactively. Taking care of your body during this month will prevent larger issues from developing later. Spiritual activity, meditation, and any form of inner work are strongly supported by this 12th house sun transit. If you have been wanting to start a meditation practice, spend time in a spiritual environment, or simply step away from the noise of daily life for a few days, this transit gives you the energy and the inclination to do exactly that. The insights that come during this introspective period can be remarkably useful for your forward planning once the sun moves into your first house in mid-July. From June 29th, Mercury goes retrograde, and by July 7th, it conjoins the sun in Gemini, your 12th house. For Cancer, Mercury rules your 12th and 3rd houses through Gemini and Virgo. So retrograde Mercury joining the sun in your 12th house is a deeply personal and introspective event. You may find yourself revisiting thoughts, emotions, or situations that you considered resolved but that are actually still requiring your attention. Hidden information can surface through a private conversation or a message that arrives unexpectedly. Be careful about what you communicate in private during the retrograde phase. Things said behind the scenes can be misinterpreted or reach unintended ears. Review your written communications carefully before sending. Rahu is currently in Aquarius, which is your 8th house. From the 8th house, Rahu's aspect reaches your 12th house where the sun is transiting. This adds an intensifying and unpredictable quality to an already inward-looking transit. Rahu in the 8th house is already creating conditions around hidden matters, sudden changes, and deep transformative processes. When it aspects your 12th house, the desire to step away from the ordinary and explore something more expansive or unconventional becomes strong. You may feel pulled toward a spiritual retreat, an unusual travel experience, or a significant behind-the-scenes project. Some Cancer people will also experience a mix of restlessness and deep introspection during this period as these two energies interact. Overall, the sun in your 12th house is asking you to go inward rather than outward for this month. Prioritize rest, health, and emotional restoration. Be mindful of expenditure and handle foreign-related matters with care. Use this period productively by doing your private planning, spiritual work, and any behind-the-scenes preparation that will position you for a stronger phase when the sun enters your first house in mid-July. The quiet work you do this month lays the foundation for the visibility and activity that follows. For Leo, the Sun transits your 11th house from June 15th to July 16th, 2026. The 11th house is the house of income, financial gains, professional networks, elder siblings, friends, social connections, community involvement, large organizations, and the fulfillment of long-held desires. This is one of the most rewarding houses for the Sun to transit, and for Leo people whose first house lord is the Sun itself, this is a particularly energizing and productive period. When the Sun, your own first house lord, moves into the 11th house, it directly activates your capacity to earn, connect, and receive recognition within your professional and social circles. You will feel more motivated than usual to be visible in professional networks, to attend events and gatherings, to reach out to important contacts, and to put yourself forward for opportunities that can improve your income or professional standing. The 11th house is where consistent effort meets its reward, and the Sun transiting here makes you both more active in pursuing those rewards and more naturally positioned to receive them. For professionals, this is a prime window for career-related networking, attending industry events, getting in touch with influential people in your field, and putting your accomplishments in front of the right people. If you have been waiting for acknowledgement at work, whether through a promotion, a performance bonus, a public recognition, or an important project assignment, this transit period is when those things are more likely to materialize. The Sun in the 11th house enhances your visibility and authority within your professional community, and makes it easier for the people who can help you advance to notice your contributions. Income and financial gains are directly activated by this 11th house transit. Whether through a salary increase, successful project results, new clients, renewed contracts, or a side venture showing returns, the general direction of this transit supports financial reward through professional effort. Leo people who run their own businesses will find this a particularly active month for attracting new clients and building stronger financial momentum. Show up for every professional opportunity that comes your way during this window. The Sun rules your first house through Leo, which means it carries your personal identity, authority, and energy with it as it transits the 11th house. This creates a situation where your personal brand, your reputation, and your presence are all working together in professional and social settings during this period. People perceive you as someone with genuine authority and substance. If you want to be seen and recognized, this is the month to show up at the right places and let your work and presence speak for themselves. Put your best professional foot forward consistently. Friendships and social connections also become more active during this transit. You may reconnect with people who are not in your recent circle, or you may meet new individuals through professional events who turn out to be genuinely beneficial to your goals. Elder siblings may also play a notable role during this month, either by being supportive of your endeavors, making an introduction, or bringing something to your attention that requires your action. Large organizations, institutions, and professional bodies are also associated with the 11th house. If your career involves working with or through large organizations, this transit boosts your engagement and standing with those groups. If you are part of any industry association, professional community, or collective platform, your involvement and contribution during this month will be noticed and valued. From June 29th, Mercury goes retrograde, and by July 7th, it joins the Sun in Gemini, your 11th house. Mercury rules your 2nd and 11th houses for Leo through Virgo and Gemini. So retrograde Mercury conjoining the Sun directly in your 11th house is a very relevant signal for your income and financial network. During the retrograde phase, you may need to revisit a financial deal or go back and clarify terms in a client or partner agreement. A payment may be delayed. A professional communication may need to be corrected or resent. Be patient with these delays and make sure all financial agreements are documented clearly and formally. Do not proceed on verbal commitments alone during this period, and review any new contract or offer carefully before agreeing. Rahu is currently in Aquarius, which is your 7th house. From the 7th house, Rahu's aspect reaches your 11th house where the Sun is transiting. Rahu in your 7th house is already pushing your ambitions related to partnerships, business dealings, and public-facing relationships. When it aspects your 11th house, it amplifies your desire for gains and recognition through collaboration and professional alliances. You may enter into a new professional partnership or collaboration during this transit that has real potential to increase your income or expand your social and professional reach significantly. This partnership might come through an unconventional source or involve someone from a very different background or expertise area. Evaluate these opportunities carefully but with genuine openness. Overall, this is one of the more rewarding Sun transits you will experience this year. Your professional network is your strongest asset during this month. Be visible, be active in your field, and be open to the opportunities that come through the people around you. Pursue income growth with confidence and clarity. Handle the Mercury retrograde phase carefully when it comes to financial agreements and client communications. And let the ambition that Rahu adds to this transit push you toward bigger professional collaborations and expanded reach. This is a month to work your network fully and collect the rewards that your consistent professional effort deserves. For Virgo, the Sun transits your 10th house from June 15th to July 16th, 2026. The 10th house is the most powerful career house in Vedic astrology. It governs your profession, reputation, public image, authority within your field, your relationship with people in positions of power, government dealings, and the overall quality of your professional standing in society. When the Sun, which is the natural significator of career, authority, and recognition, moves into the 10th house, it creates one of the strongest and most career-focused transits of the entire year. This is a highly visible and energized period from a professional standpoint for Virgo people. You will find yourself far more motivated to advance in your career, to be recognized for your work, and to take on responsibilities that increase your authority and professional status. If you have been working diligently and quietly behind the scenes for a period of time, this transit has a way of pulling you forward into a more visible and prominent role. Your work gets noticed. Your contributions are acknowledged. Bosses, supervisors, clients, and other authority figures are more likely to see you in a favorable and capable light during this month. For Virgo people who are currently seeking employment, this is an excellent time to pursue applications, attend interviews, and present yourself to potential employers. The Sun in the 10th house gives you a strong and confident professional presence. You come across as capable, focused, and authoritative, which creates genuinely good impressions in any professional assessment context. Similarly, for business owners and entrepreneurs, this is a productive period to pitch services, present to important clients, appear at industry events, and build your professional visibility in meaningful ways. The Sun in Gemini in your 10th house also links your career specifically to communication and the exchange of information. Gemini is a sign of communication, ideas, media, and business. So during this transit, your career-related activities will heavily involve writing, presenting, communicating, educating, or managing information. For Virgo people who work in education, media, marketing, consulting, healthcare communication, or technical fields that involve explaining complex information to others, this is a particularly rewarding and high-output month professionally. The Sun also rules your 12th house through Leo. The 12th house governs foreign lands, expenses, hidden activities, and spiritual or charitable work. When the Sun carries this 12th house energy into the 10th house, it adds an interesting international or behind-the-scenes element to your career activities. Some Virgo people may be working on projects connected to international clients, foreign markets, or overseas collaboration. Others may be involved in work that requires discretion, research, or private preparation before it goes public. There is also a possibility that career advancement during this transit involves some travel or relocation consideration. Dealings with authority figures, including government bodies, large organizations, senior executives, or institutional decision-makers, are clearly highlighted during this transit. If you have pending approvals, applications, or negotiations involving official bodies or people in positions of authority, this is a productive time to move those processes forward. The Sun in the 10th house gives you the authority and clarity to engage confidently with these situations and to pursue the outcomes you are working toward. Your public reputation and professional image are under a favorable light during this transit. Be mindful that everything you do professionally is visible and creating an impression. Maintain your standards, show up reliably, and let the quality of your work be the primary statement you make this month. Virgo people who have been aiming for a promotion, a better title, or a step up in professional authority may find this transit being the period when those conversations finally move forward. From June 29th, Mercury goes retrograde and joins the Sun in Gemini, your 10th house, on July 7th. Mercury rules both your 1st house and your 10th house for Virgo, making this conjunction extremely significant. The Sun-Mercury conjunction forming in your career house sharpens your professional intelligence considerably. The retrograde factor means that career-related documents, communications, and decisions need careful review. A job offer should be read thoroughly. A work contract or professional agreement deserves scrutiny on every clause. A miscommunication with a supervisor or important professional contact is possible during the retrograde phase, so address any ambiguity promptly and directly rather than leaving it unresolved. Rahu is currently in Aquarius, which is your 6th house. From the 6th house, Rahu's aspect reaches your 10th house where the Sun is transiting. Rahu in the 6th house is a highly competitive and achievement-oriented placement that pushes you to work harder and outperform obstacles. When it aspects your 10th house, this energy channels into your professional ambitions. You may feel a very strong and relentless drive to achieve career goals during this transit. There may be competition or a sense of rivalry within your professional environment that motivates you to step up your performance significantly. Channel this competitive drive into tangible results rather than letting it translate into stress or anxiety. The combination of Sun and Rahu influence on your 10th house this month is genuinely powerful for career advancement. Overall, the Sun in your 10th house is one of the most valuable career transits you will experience this year. Show up fully, take initiative, and make your professional presence count. Handle all important career communications and documents with thoroughness, especially during the retrograde phase. Engage boldly with authority figures and institutional processes. And harness the competitive energy this transit creates to push yourself to a higher level of professional performance. The effort you put in this month has a very direct line to your career reputation and advancement. For Libra, the Sun transits your 9th house from June 15th to July 16th, 2026. The 9th house is considered one of the most auspicious houses in Vedic astrology. It governs higher education, long-distance travel, philosophy, religious and cultural beliefs, luck and fortune, mentors and teachers, publishing, foreign cultures, and the broader expansion of your worldview. When the Sun moves through this house, it brings an expansive and forward-looking energy that draws you toward learning, growing, and connecting with ideas and people that are bigger than your immediate daily environment. The most immediate feeling you will have during this transit is a natural pull toward broader perspectives and bigger possibilities. Your mind opens up to higher thinking, philosophical exploration, and the desire to learn from those who have more experience and wisdom than you currently possess. This is an excellent time to invest in your education, sign up for a course or advanced program, connect with a mentor or teacher who can meaningfully guide your development, or explore a subject that has always interested you but that you have not had the time or focus to pursue properly. From a career and professional standpoint, this transit is most actively rewarding for people who work in education, writing, publishing, consulting, law, international business, higher learning institutions, travel, research, or any field where the transmission of knowledge and cross-cultural engagement plays a central role. If your career has any connection to sharing expertise, working across geographical or cultural boundaries, or engaging with institutions of higher learning, this is one of your most active and productive periods. If you are planning to expand your services or business into international markets, this transit provides real support for those efforts. The Sun also rules your 11th house through Leo. The 11th house governs income, professional gains, elder siblings, and your wider social network. When the Sun carries this 11th house energy into the 9th house, it creates a very practical and meaningful connection between your expansion through knowledge and your financial and professional rewards. The higher learning you pursue, the mentors you connect with, and the international relationships you build during this period can directly lead to tangible income and career gains in the coming months. This transit is essentially telling you that investing in your growth right now is also investing in your future earnings and opportunities. Travel, both physical and intellectual, is a strong theme of this 9th house Sun transit. Even if you do not take a long international trip, you will find yourself meaningfully engaging with ideas, content, and people from outside your usual cultural or geographic environment. Some of you will travel abroad for educational or professional purposes during this transit, and those trips will be impactful and productive. For others, the travel will be through books, courses, conversations with people from different backgrounds, or online learning that genuinely expands your frame of reference. Relationships with mentors, teachers, and senior guides become particularly active and beneficial during this period. If there is someone in your life who is further along the path you are pursuing and whose guidance you value, this is the time to reach out and deepen that connection. Equally, if you are already in a position of knowledge and experience, you may find yourself naturally stepping into a mentor or guide role for someone younger, and this will feel genuinely rewarding during this transit. Your relationship with belief systems, whether religious, philosophical, or personal, may also come into focus. This is not necessarily a time of upheaval in what you believe, but rather a time when you think more deeply and honestly about your values and the principles that guide your decisions. You may feel called to reassess certain beliefs or to seek out more grounded and informed perspectives on matters that are important to you. From June 29th, Mercury goes retrograde, and by July 7th, it conjoins the Sun in Gemini, your 9th house. Mercury rules your 9th and 12th houses for Libra through Gemini and Virgo. So retrograde Mercury joining the Sun in your 9th house is a direct signal to revisit higher education plans, long-term philosophical decisions, and foreign-related matters. A travel plan may need to be rescheduled. A conversation with a university or institution may require a follow-up. Communication from abroad or related to international dealings may need revisiting. Some of you may find that a belief you held confidently gets genuinely challenged during this retrograde phase, and taking the time to think it through carefully rather than defending it reflexively will lead to a more grounded perspective. Rahu is currently in Aquarius, which is your 5th house. From the 5th house, Rahu's aspect reaches your 9th house where the Sun is transiting. Rahu in your 5th house is amplifying your creative intelligence, your desire for educational growth, and your drive to express original ideas. When it aspects your 9th house alongside the Sun, it intensifies your ambition around expanding your knowledge and your reach into the broader world. There may be a strong pull toward pursuing an unconventional educational path, an online course from a foreign institution, or a non-traditional form of learning that excites you in a way that conventional study never quite did. The luck and expansion signified by the 9th house are amplified by Rahu's presence, and some Libra people may experience a genuinely fortunate and unexpected connection during this transit that opens a significant new door. Overall, this is an expansive and genuinely auspicious Sun transit for Libra people. Invest in your learning and intellectual growth. Connect with mentors and guides who can help you move forward. Pursue international connections and opportunities with genuine openness. Treat the retrograde phase as a time to review and refine your beliefs and longer-term plans rather than making irreversible commitments. The seeds you plant through education, mentorship, and expanded connections during this period will grow into meaningful and lasting opportunities in the months ahead. For Scorpio, the Sun transits your 8th house from June 15th to July 16th, 2026. The 8th house is one of the most complex and transformative houses in Vedic astrology. It governs sudden events and unexpected changes, research and investigation, occult and hidden knowledge, joint finances and shared resources, taxes and insurance, loans and debt, inheritance, in-laws, and the deeper processes of psychological and life transformation. When the Sun enters this house, it illuminates areas that are normally kept out of sight, and for Scorpio people who are naturally attuned to depth and hidden truths, this transit creates an intense but ultimately productive period of uncovering and processing. The 8th house Sun transit is not associated with smooth and comfortable external progress. It is more associated with going deep, confronting what has been hidden or avoided, and navigating through complex situations that require patience and thoroughness. You may find during this period that certain matters which were unresolved or sitting beneath the surface start demanding active attention. These could be financial matters connected to shared money, long-standing relationship dynamics that need honest conversation, health concerns that have been postponed, or situations in your professional life that require you to dig beneath the surface before you can fully understand them. From a financial standpoint, joint finances and shared resources are the primary area of practical focus. If you are dealing with taxes, insurance claims, loan applications, inheritance matters, or any financial situation involving another party, these issues will be active and pressing during this transit. You may find yourself in negotiations with financial institutions, going through paperwork connected to shared assets, or sorting out financial obligations that have been left unfinished. Being proactive and organized with your financial records and documentation during this transit will save you significant time and stress. Research and investigation are positively supported by the 8th house Sunday. If your professional work involves research, analysis, auditing, investigation, data assessment, or the kind of problem solving that requires going beneath the surface to find real answers, your capacity to do this work effectively is enhanced significantly. Your intuition sharpens, your ability to detect patterns and inconsistencies improves, and your patience for deep and complex analysis is greater than usual. Scorpio people who are researchers, analysts, therapists, detectives, financial auditors, medical professionals, or involved in any field that requires uncovering hidden truths will find this transit professionally rewarding. The Sun also rules your 10th house through Leo. The 10th house governs career, public image, and professional authority. When the Sun carries this 10th house energy into the 8th house, it connects your career with transformation, research, and hidden matters. Some Scorpio people may find that their career involves handling sensitive information, managing behind-the-scenes projects, or taking on roles connected to crisis management, financial restructuring, or investigative work. Others may find that their career itself is going through a significant transformation where old structures are coming to an end and new professional directions are beginning to take shape. Health is an area that deserves genuine attention during this transit. The 8th house governs longevity and the more chronic or deep-seated aspects of physical health. The Sun shining here can bring existing health matters into sharper focus. If there has been a symptom or concern you have been monitoring but not fully addressing, this is the time to consult with a medical professional and get proper clarity. Avoid self-diagnosing and instead get an actual professional assessment of anything that has been lingering. Psychological depth and personal transformation are also characteristic of this transit. You may find yourself going through a process of letting go of old patterns, beliefs, or attachments that have been holding you back. This is not always comfortable, but the 8th house Sun essentially asks you to be honest about what is no longer serving you and to begin the process of moving past it. This inner work, done sincerely, creates space for a more authentic and powerful version of yourself to emerge. From June 29th, Mercury goes retrograde, and by July 7th, it conjoins the Sun in Gemini, your 8th house. Mercury rules your 8th and 11th houses for Scorpio through Gemini and Virgo. So retrograde Mercury joining the Sun in your 8th house is a significant event around financial complexity and hidden matters. During this retrograde phase, communications connected to financial agreements, legal documents, insurance, or shared assets need to be handled with extreme care. Hidden information may surface unexpectedly through a document or a conversation you were not expecting. Be very thorough about reviewing anything you are asked to sign or agree to during this period. Do not rush into decisions involving shared money or complex agreements without full clarity on every detail. Rahu is currently in Aquarius, which is your 4th house. From the 4th house, Rahu's aspect reaches your 8th house where the Sun is transiting. Rahu in the 4th house is already creating some restlessness and intensity around your home environment, emotional security, and sense of belonging. When it aspects your 8th house, it amplifies the transformative and sometimes unpredictable quality of this transit. Some of this energy may manifest as unexpected events connected to home and finances simultaneously. Others may experience a strong internal pull toward deep spiritual exploration, research into hidden subjects, or making a significant life change that begins quietly but builds into something substantial. Rahu here rewards those who embrace change rather than resist it. Overall, this transit calls for patience, thoroughness, and a genuine willingness to confront what needs to be confronted. Handle financial matters with organization and care. Use your natural investigative instincts productively in your professional work. Pay attention to your health and get professional input on anything that has been lingering. Approach the Mercury retrograde phase with extra caution around financial documents and sensitive communications. The transformation that this 8th house Sun transit initiates may be demanding, but it is ultimately preparing you for a more grounded and authentic forward movement. For Sagittarius, the Sun transits your 7th house from June 15th to July 16th, 2026. The 7th house is the house of marriage, long-term partnerships, business relationships, public dealings, agreements, and all significant one-on-one interactions. When the Sun enters this house, it puts relationships and partnerships at the absolute center of your life for this 1-month period, making how you engage with others your primary focus, challenge, and opportunity. The Sun in the 7th house means that your attention and energy during this transit are primarily directed toward the significant relationships in your life, whether that is a spouse or romantic partner, a business partner, a close colleague, or even your relationship with the public in a professional capacity. You will feel more driven than usual to assess the health and quality of your key relationships and to take action on what needs to change or be strengthened. The Sun here is a clarifying and sometimes confronting influence on partnership dynamics. For people who are married or in committed relationships, this transit brings the spotlight directly onto your partnership. The Sun in the 7th house tends to activate important conversations, decisions, and sometimes unresolved issues within a relationship. Things that have been left unsaid or situations that have been postponed in a relationship may come to the surface during this period. The key is to approach these moments with openness, honesty, and a genuine desire to improve the dynamic rather than to win the argument. The Sun does carry an ego component, and in the 7th house, that ego energy can show up as a desire to dominate or control the relationship direction. Conscious effort to balance authority with genuine partnership will be essential. For professionals and business owners, the 7th house Sun creates a very active and energized period around client relationships, business negotiations, formal agreements, and any dealings that involve presenting yourself or your business to the public. Negotiations that have been in progress may come to a decisive point during this transit. Contracts and formal agreements may be finalized. If you are looking to establish a new business partnership or formalize a professional alliance, this is a period when those conversations will gain momentum and seriousness. Communicate your terms clearly, approach negotiations with confidence, and ensure all agreements are thoroughly documented. The Sun also rules your 9th house through Leo. The 9th house governs higher learning, luck, philosophy, long-distance connections, and foreign cultures. When the Sun carries this 9th house energy into the 7th house, it adds a dimension of luck, philosophical alignment, and potentially international or cross-cultural flavor to your relationship and partnership sphere. You may find yourself connecting with a business partner or a meaningful personal contact who brings a very different cultural perspective or whose background is quite distinct from yours. A partnership with an international or educational angle is supported by this combination of energies. Your public presence and visibility are also activated by the 7th house Sunday. This house governs how you are perceived when you step into public or professional arenas, and the Sun here increases your confidence in public-facing situations. If your work requires you to represent yourself or your organization to audiences, clients, or the general public, this is an active and productive period for that kind of visible engagement. Show up at professional events, speak up confidently in public settings, and let your authority be felt in your field. If you are single and open to a relationship, this transit does increase social activity and meaningful one-on-one interactions. Be mindful that the Sun in the 7th house can attract relationships where ego dynamics are pronounced. Meeting someone during this period is possible, but take the time to understand the depth of the connection before making serious commitments. From June 29th, Mercury goes retrograde, and by July 7th, it conjoins the Sun in Gemini, your 7th house. Mercury rules your 10th and 7th houses for Sagittarius through Virgo and Gemini. So retrograde Mercury joining the Sun directly in your 7th house is a very pointed signal about communication within partnerships and formal agreements. Miscommunications with a partner, whether romantic or professional, are a real risk during this phase. A contract or agreement may need to be revisited or renegotiated. Something that seemed decided in a relationship or business context may reopen for discussion. Approach these situations with patience and a genuine willingness to listen. Use the retrograde phase to correct and clarify rather than to push aggressively forward. Read all partnership agreements very carefully before finalizing them. Rahu is currently in Aquarius, which is your 3rd house. From there, it aspects your 7th house where the Sun is transiting. Rahu in your 3rd house is amplifying your communication drives, your ambition in marketing and outreach, and your activity on digital and social platforms. When it aspects your 7th house, this energy introduces an unconventional or amplified quality into your partnership sphere. You may attract a business partner or a significant personal connection through a non-traditional channel, such as a digital platform, a referral from an unexpected person, or someone from a very different background than you are accustomed to. This Rahu influence can make relationship and partnership energy feel more intense and urgent than usual, so stay grounded and make relationship decisions from a place of clarity rather than intensity. Overall, this is a highly relationship-focused transit for Sagittarius. Whether it is personal relationships or professional partnerships, the energy demands your full and honest engagement. Approach important conversations with openness and clarity. Handle all formal agreements and contracts with care, especially during the retrograde phase. Be present and authoritative in public and professional settings. And channel the energy of the 7th house Sun into building and strengthening the partnerships that genuinely support your long-term vision. For Capricorn, the Sun transits your 6th house from June 15th to July 16th, 2026. The 6th house is the house of daily work and service, health and physical maintenance, obstacles and challenges, competition, enemies and rivals, loans and debts, and the kind of persistent effort required to overcome difficulties. It is a demanding house but also a highly productive one for those who approach it with discipline and determination. The sun in the 6th house sharpens your competitive edge, strengthens your work ethic, and motivates you to address challenges that have been sitting unresolved. When the sun enters your 6th house, you feel a strong and driven impulse to work harder, to clear away outstanding problems, and to directly confront whatever has been blocking your progress. For Capricorn people, who are already among the most disciplined and work-oriented of all the signs, this transit doubles down on that natural tendency and gives it an even sharper edge. You will find yourself motivated to solve problems that others might avoid, to push through obstacles that would slow down less determined people, and to establish your authority through the quality and consistency of your professional output. In the professional environment, this 6th house sun transit is particularly productive for Capricorn people who work in service-based industries, healthcare, legal fields, government, or administrative roles, military, or any work that requires systematic problem-solving and attention to detail. Your ability to identify what is broken and to take decisive corrective action is exceptional during this period. If there are competitors or rivals who have been creating challenges in your professional environment, this transit gives you both the energy and the strategic clarity to handle those situations effectively and decisively. The 6th house also directly governs your physical health and daily wellness routines. The sun shining here makes you more conscious of your body and its current condition. This is an excellent time to schedule medical checkups that have been postponed, to address a health concern that you have been monitoring, and to review your diet, exercise, and daily habits. If there is a health issue that has been slow to resolve, getting a thorough professional assessment during this transit is strongly recommended. Being proactive about your physical health this month will save you from larger complications down the road. The sun also rules your 8th house through Leo. The 8th house governs sudden events, hidden matters, joint finances, and transformative processes. When the sun carries this 8th house energy into the 6th house, it suggests that the challenges you face during this transit may have layers of complexity or suddenness to them that are not immediately obvious. A work problem may turn out to be more intricate than it initially appeared. A health matter may require deeper investigation. Financial obligations connected to loans or shared assets may surface and require your active management. Approaching these situations with thorough preparation rather than surface-level solutions will produce better outcomes. Dealing with legal matters, government procedures, or institutional processes is also highlighted during this transit. If you have any pending legal cases, government applications, loan approvals, or bureaucratic processes in motion, the sun in your 6th house activates your engagement with these areas. There can be some bureaucratic delay or obstruction during this period, but your persistence and attention to detail will be your best tools for navigating through it. Do not give up on a legitimate process because it slows down. Competitors and rivals in your professional space may be more active during this period. Rather than being unsettled by competition, use it as a motivating factor to sharpen your skills, improve your work quality, and differentiate yourself more clearly from others in your field. The 6th house sun rewards those who put in genuine effort and maintain high standards even when facing opposition. From June 29th, Mercury goes retrograde, and by July 7th, it conjoins the sun in Gemini, your 6th house. Mercury rules your 6th and 9th houses for Capricorn through Gemini and Virgo. So Mercury retrograde joining the sun in your 6th house is a clear signal to review your daily work processes, service delivery, and any communications connected to your professional responsibilities. You may need to redo a work assignment, correct an error in a report or document, or revisit a process that was not implemented correctly the first time. Communications in the workplace may become tangled or misunderstood during the retrograde phase. Be very precise in the instructions you give to colleagues and in the written communications you send out. Health-related matters that you have been investigating may also require a second opinion or additional follow-up during this period. Rahu is currently in Aquarius, which is your 2nd house. From the 2nd house, Rahu's aspect reaches your 6th house where the sun is transiting. Rahu in the 2nd house is already amplifying your focus on wealth, income, and the financial foundation you are building. When it aspects your 6th house, it adds a very intense and driven quality to your work ambitions. You may find yourself working significantly longer hours or taking on more professional responsibilities than usual during this transit. The competitive instinct will be very strong, and the desire to prove your capabilities and advance your position will be relentless. This energy is productive when channeled correctly, but be mindful of burnout. Take adequate rest during this period even when your ambition tells you to keep pushing. Overall, this transit rewards every Capricorn person who shows up with discipline, thoroughness, and a commitment to doing their work well even when the conditions are demanding. Confront professional challenges directly and practically. Be proactive about your health. Handle legal and institutional matters with patience and persistence. Use the retrograde phase to review and correct your work rather than rushing forward. And balance the intense competitive drive this transit generates with genuine self-care and recovery time. Sustained effort during this month sets the stage for meaningful recognition and advancement in the period that follows. For Aquarius, the Sun transits your 5th house from June 15th to July 16th, 2026. The 5th house is one of the most vibrant and creatively charged houses in Vedic astrology. It governs intelligence and intellect, education and learning, creativity and artistic expression, children, romance, speculation, and the fruits of your accumulated wisdom and past karma. When the Sun enters this house, it shines a bright and motivating light on all these areas of life and makes self-expression, creative growth, and intellectual development your primary source of energy and focus. The most immediate and noticeable effect of this transit is a significant boost in your creative energy and intellectual confidence. Whether you are a writer, artist, designer, musician, content creator, programmer, or someone who applies their intelligence and creativity within a professional context, this is one of the most supportive and productive periods you will experience this year. Your ideas come more readily, your creative output is more inspired, and your confidence in expressing your unique perspective to the world is substantially higher than usual. If there is a creative project you have been holding back, this transit gives you both the spark and the sustained energy to push it forward meaningfully. Education is a strong theme of this 5th house Sun transit. Whether you are formally a student or simply someone who values continuous learning, the Sun here motivates you to go deeper into your intellectual interests and develop your knowledge and skills at a higher level. If you are preparing for an exam, completing a course, or working toward a qualification, your focus and retention improve noticeably during this period. For professionals, this is also an excellent time to invest in further training, short courses, or specialized programs that sharpen your expertise and make you more competitive in your field. For Aquarius people who have children, this transit brings your relationship with them into active focus. Important developments in your child's education, achievements, or personal growth may emerge during this period and require your engagement and support. You will find yourself more actively involved in their academic or creative progress. The Sun in the 5th house can also make you more authoritative in your parenting approach, so consciously balancing firmness with warmth and encouragement will create a more productive dynamic. The Sun also rules your 7th house through Leo. The 7th house governs relationships, marriage, and business partnerships. When the Sun carries this 7th house energy into the 5th house, it creates an interesting link between your personal relationships and your creative and intellectual development. For those in romantic relationships, this can be a period of deepened intellectual and creative connection with your partner, where you share more meaningful activities and conversations than usual. For single Aquarius people, there is a reasonable possibility of meeting someone through a creative, educational, or social environment who genuinely captures your interest. For those with a business focus, this transit can bring opportunities where your personal creativity and a professional partnership merge into something productive. Speculation and risk-taking in financial matters also fall under the 5th house. The Sun transiting here can increase your confidence in this area, but confidence in speculation requires the same discipline as any other financial decision. If you are drawn to the stock market, investment opportunities, or any form of financial risk-taking during this period, make thoroughly informed decisions rather than acting on impulse. The 5th house Sun raises your risk appetite, and that is not always the same as raising your wisdom in those decisions. Your natural Aquarian originality and ability to think differently from the crowd will be one of your greatest professional assets during this transit. Any situation that requires fresh thinking, inventive solutions, or the ability to see problems from an angle that others have not considered will showcase your value clearly. Lean into that originality with full confidence. From June 29th, Mercury goes retrograde, and by July 7th, it conjoins the Sun in Gemini, your 5th house. Mercury rules your 5th and 8th houses for Aquarius through Gemini and Virgo. So retrograde Mercury joining the Sun directly in your 5th house is a deeply personal and intellectually significant event. The Sun-Mercury conjunction forming in your house of intelligence, and creativity sharpens your thinking to an unusually high degree during this period. You may revisit a creative concept you had previously shelved and find it had far more potential than you initially recognized. The retrograde element means that creative projects may face delays, revisions, or the need to rework something substantially. Educational processes may experience setbacks or slowdowns. Communications with children or romantic partners may require clarification or correction during the retrograde phase. Treat these as part of the creative and intellectual refining process rather than as failures. Rahu is currently in Aquarius itself. Rahu sitting in your first house is already creating a restless, ambitious, and somewhat unconventional energy around your identity and your sense of personal direction. From your first house, Rahu's aspect reaches your fifth house where the sun is transiting. This is a very intense combination of energies focused on your creativity, intelligence, and self-expression. Rahu amplifies everything it touches, and on your first house, it is amplifying your desire to be seen as unique, innovative, and ahead of your time. When this Rahu energy aspects your fifth house with the sun there, it creates an exceptionally strong drive toward creative achievement and intellectual recognition. Some Aquarius people will produce their best work during this transit. Others may feel an overwhelming surge of ideas without sufficient structure to channel them productively. Overall, this is one of the richest and most creatively charged sun transits you will experience this year. Lean fully into your creativity and intelligence. Push forward with educational goals and original projects. Stay grounded in financial decision-making around speculative matters. Manage the retrograde phase with patience and a willingness to revise and refine. And channel the remarkable combination of Sun and Rahu energy in your fifth house into producing something you are genuinely proud of. This is a period of significant creative and intellectual potential for Aquarius people. For Pisces, the Sun transits your fourth house from June 15th to July 16th, 2026. The fourth house is the house of home, mother, emotional security, real estate and property, vehicles, physical comforts, inner peace, and your private and domestic world. When the sun enters this house, it shines its authoritative and illuminating energy directly into your personal and domestic sphere, making your home environment, your family relationships, and your sense of inner stability the primary focus of your life during this one-month period. The most immediate experience of the sun in your fourth house is a heightened focus on everything connected to your home. You will find yourself paying more attention to the physical condition of your living space, thinking seriously about home improvements or renovations, or investing time and energy into managing domestic responsibilities that have been accumulating. If there is a pending decision about property, whether it involves buying, selling, renting, or making significant changes to your existing home, this transit activates that area directly. Real estate matters generally see movement and activity during a fourth house sun transit, and for Pisces people, this period provides the energy and motivation to move those conversations and processes forward. Your relationship with your mother becomes notably more prominent and active during this transit. The fourth house is the primary house of the mother in Vedic astrology, and the sun's transit here can bring your mother into the center of your attention and activity. You may spend considerably more time with her, take an active role in caring for her needs, or find that a significant development in your relationship with her occurs during this period. If there are unresolved emotional matters between you and your mother, this transit tends to create an environment where those things surface and require honest attention. Emotional security and your inner sense of peace are also directly connected to the fourth house. The sun here can make you feel somewhat more emotionally reactive than usual, as though the stability of your home environment and personal life is under a more intense scrutiny. You may feel a strong desire to take authority over your domestic situation and to make sure everything at home is organized and running the way you want it. While this drive for domestic order is productive, be mindful that it does not translate into being controlling or dismissive of other family members who have their own ways of doing things. The sun also rules your sixth house through Leo. The sixth house governs daily health routines, work and service, obstacles, and physical maintenance. When the sun carries this sixth house energy into the fourth house, it creates a connection between your home life and matters of health, practical challenges, and daily effort. Home-related matters during this transit may come with some friction or unexpected difficulties. There may be a home repair that has been postponed and can no longer be avoided. A domestic issue may require more effort and persistence than you anticipated. The connection between your home environment and your physical health is also highlighted during this period, making it worthwhile to ensure that your living space is genuinely supportive of your well-being rather than a source of daily stress. Vehicles also fall under the 4th house. If you have been considering a vehicle purchase, if your existing vehicle requires maintenance or repair, or if transportation-related matters come up in any form during this period, they are connected to the general energy of this transit. Handle vehicle matters proactively rather than waiting for a minor issue to become a major inconvenience. Inner emotional work is also supported during this transit, perhaps more than outward action. The 4th house governs your subconscious foundations and your relationship with your inner world. The sun here can be a good time for honest self-reflection about whether your home life, family relationships, and personal foundations are genuinely aligned with who you want to be. Any gap between where you are in your personal life and where you want to be becomes more visible during this transit. From June 29th, Mercury goes retrograde, and by July 7th, it conjoins the Sun in Gemini, your 4th house. Mercury rules your 4th and 7th houses for Pisces through Gemini and Virgo. So retrograde Mercury joining the Sun directly in your 4th house is an extremely personal event connected to your home and closest relationships. During the retrograde phase, home-related decisions and communications are especially prone to confusion, delays, and the need for revision. If you are in the middle of a property negotiation, a rental process, a home renovation project, or any domestic financial agreement, review every detail carefully and confirm every commitment in writing. Do not assume anything about a home-related matter has been finalized until you have clear and explicit documentation. Miscommunications with family members, particularly around domestic responsibilities or shared decisions, are also possible during this phase and require patient and direct resolution rather than avoidance. Rahu is currently in Aquarius, which is your 12th house. From the 12th house, Rahu's aspect reaches your 4th house where the Sun is transiting. Rahu in the 12th house is already creating an energy around foreign connections, spiritual seeking, expenses, and a restless pull away from the familiar towards something more expansive. Some Pisces people may be seriously considering relocating, whether to a different city or even a different country, during this period. Others may feel emotionally restless even when their external home conditions are reasonable. Overall, this Sun transit through your 4th house is asking you to engage deeply and honestly with your home, your family, and your emotional foundations. Take care of practical property and domestic matters that need attention. Be present and caring in your relationship with your mother and other family members. Handle home-related decisions with thoroughness, especially during the Mercury retrograde phase from late June through mid-July. Pay attention to your health and the quality of your living environment. And take seriously the Rahu-influenced restlessness that is asking you to evaluate whether your current domestic situation truly supports the life you want to be building. The clarity you gain about your personal foundations this month will be valuable and lasting. As we conclude this episode, please keep in mind that these insights are based on the sidereal zodiac system used in Vedic astrology, which differs from the tropical system by approximately 24 degrees. These are general predictions. The real impact depends on your dasha cycles and your individual birth chart. For a personalized analysis or consultation, feel free to reach out. If you found this video valuable, please like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And now, you can also hype this video to boost it within the community. Your support helps this knowledge reach more people who may benefit. Thank you for watching. Stay aware, keep learning, and keep shining bright.